same thing. But when you're against Zergling and Baneling drops, the Zerglings just completely overwhelm any of those units trying to run about.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, there's a couple different ways that he could have decided to deal with it. If he would have done an initial blink to not even get in that scenario, the problem is with the amount and the volume of banelings that he had, everything else, the sentries and the few zealots that were there, would have gotten completely devastated. So it seemed like he made a decision that didn't quite go his way, and as a result, he lost everything there. And those are some of the gambles that you have to make, and the tough decisions you have to make in StarCraft 2. And as we get started here, we are on Metalopolis. We have our blue Protoss, FXOSlog, spawning in the south position. And, you know, if you are a fan of FXOSlog, why don't you give him a cheer right now, fighting one of the best Zergs from Europe, FXOSlog.
Yeah, give it up for FXOSlog. Who doesn't love Mr. Andy On? I would call him one of the nicest people in all of esports. I have known him for so long, always willing to lend a helping hand, whether it be helping you around at a tournament, especially when you go to one of those international tournaments and you always seem to be confused and Slog just happens to know everyone. But also in practice games, Slog is very, very dedicated to, you know, what strategy do you want me to do? What are you trying to work on? I've had a lot of fun matches against Slog. He's been very, very helpful. Morrow, of course, if you're a fan of the Swedish superheroes there, give a cheer for Morrow.
Sounds like Morrow has some fans out there. And close by air positions here on MLG Metalopolis. Looks like Morrow's going to opt for a pool first, hatch second build. He's going out there with 150 minerals, so he'll try to chase off this probe. Now, sometimes if the probe does get that excess of 100 minerals, he'll go ahead and drop that pylon. And the probe now down to 10 hit points. He's got to be careful. And then as it gets chased out, the actually should go down, and there it does go down. Probe can't stop it this time, so Morrow's going to be really happy with that opening.
Morrow, you know, every time I watch him play Zerg, I just think, God, this race is so broken. You can't make a race better than Zerg. He just plays so incredibly well, and given the fact that he's in these close by air positions, might do some subtle adjustments to his play, but for the most part, Morrow's style, think about how flexible it is. In those cross positions, what does he do? Well, he just makes drones a lot more workers if his opponent is farther away. If his opponent is closer, the Baneling and Zergling drops are suddenly so much easier given this short air-to-air distance. So Morrow has a very nice, versatile Baneling-Zergling mix that can do a lot no matter what the circumstance.
Yeah, and I mean, Morrow is one of the Zergs that is really beginning to repopularize the drops coming in, you know, Idra as well. I think a lot of the top Zergs trying to figure out what additional utilities of the Zerg am I not using to their full potential. And Morrow and Idra are probably some of the leaders in that. Many of the Koreans also beginning to incorporate it almost as a standard into their play. We see these quick ventral sax rushes even, and then we see some of the mid to late games as well. So I really do like to see it, and think we are going to be seeing more. You know, it's kind of like the safer Nidus Worm. It allows you to get those units transported over quickly, but of course the Nidus Worm being so fragile, a lot of Zergs just opt to go with the drops over that.
Yeah, the big advantage that a Nidus Worm has over Ventral Sax is the ability to retreat.
Right.
They both have somewhat similar offensive potential. The drops can be a little bit more economic, as you only need to bring in one Overlord and a couple of Banelings. But the great part about the Nidus Worm is that your army can be in so many places at once. Right when you're under threat, you just pull back and retreat. And this is something that has been the one issue that Morrow has had with this style. When his drops start to falter, when he's against someone like Naniwa, who has that excellent defensive Blink Stalker play, we can see a lot of issues crop up for Morrow as he begins losing a lot of Overlords, as he begins losing a lot of those Zerglings. It's a little bit too costly to retreat with drops.
So Slog's going to go for this 2-gate cybernetics core, and then he's going to drop the pylon in the forge at his ramp, takes out that neutral pylon, drops the nexus, likely create a little wall here. It's similar to what he did in the last game. And again, you're kind of inviting the Zerg to go a different way, because they realize that more than likely a frontal assault is not going to have the effect that they want. And we're seeing Morrow open very, very similar to how he did in the last game, as the Evo chamber is his third structure to go down. down aside from the hash rate, and he has droned up an amazing amount. He is already at 43 to the 32 of Slog. Then we're going to have another gateway go down the front, and then the single cannon here for Slog expansion just to protect this joke.
Great little wall off there by Slog. Again, for any of you newer to StarCraft 2, the most important aspect of strategy is the interaction of your resources. Slog, building units that cost a lot of gas, these sentries, very heavy on gas, very light on minerals. What does he do with these leftover minerals? Well, he's building extra gateways. He's taking an expansion faster. That's one of those reasons why that sentry expand is such a common way to open. It's a very easy way to have a good, solid balance between the use of those two resources. Morrow, given the fact that he is in a good defensive position, is just going to build nothing but drones, which is a good balance of resources because you get more of them, Marcus.
Yes, drones all day. In fact, he decided that one Evo chamber wasn't enough either as he throws down that second one, and Morrow, one of those players who likes to get those double upgrades going, and he's also getting that second hatch up fairly quickly as well. So haven't seen the lair tech. Oh, just as I say that, he goes ahead and starts the research on that right around that 8-minute mark, and that third base going down as well. He's doing some good control with or just doing some good map control. At least having those lings out there, they're obviously going to do a great job of identifying what the army is as he continues to poke forward and just check out what's going out there. Counts the number of sentries he has is a good idea, but also he will know if there's any sort of movement from the Protoss. He's also got this Overlord moving in to Slog's base right now to get a good idea. Here we see the response as 3 sentries go over to try to limit this Overlord's vision.
This probe is still hiding up in the top right corner. Slog can eventually build a pylon here and do a little assaults up there at the top, but I like the way that Slog is opening up. He's doing a combination fast blink. This will allow him to get more upgrades. Very typically, you'll see a very fast +2 attack. This is a style popularized by Naniwa, but also with this fast robotics facility, you see players go Blink Stalker plus Immortal, a very, very solid way to put pressure on fast. It looks like Slog, though, is not going to be taking an early third. He's adding on 3 more gateways. He might just try to do an aggressive push yet again.
I think he is, and you know what? Right as the lair finishes for Morrow, we do get the Overlord speed and the Ventral Sacks. Trying to come up with that timing very, very similar to what he did in the last game. The Infestation Pit already going down as well. Wow. And here come a lot of Lings and the army from Slog. Now, he does have all of those sentries, but if he, again, neutralizes those with those drops, he can do some serious damage. Yet again, having this concentration of Lings up here, though, will allow him to watch when this third goes down, and he will also take out this 4 pylon. So he does limit the mobility of Slog here, because Slog cannot just leave. These Lings are a big threat to him. Look at even more coming out. We've got the Baneling speed on the way too, and he might just try for a surround here just to do some initial damage.
I mean, one of the biggest strengths of Zerglings early on is not their speed, it's not their damage, it's the fact that they can fit through force fields very easily. They're so small that it means that you're almost always in a very threatened position. You have to be very careful if you're Slog. Don't get me wrong, Zerglings are fast and they do a lot of damage, but still, the fact that they can squeeze through those force fields makes a build like what Slog's doing, this Sentry Expand, significantly weaker. We also see, wow, look at this, no aggression coming out of Slog. Actually getting a Templar Archives might just favor to try to do a very big, very slow 2-base push. We see Blink is done for Slog. He's still not trying to commit to any kind of aggression yet.
And Pathogen Glands is being finished here. We do have some Banelings morphing up, so expect those to be picked up in the Overlord's. Charge is coming out. This pylon is going to go down, and right now Morrow is basically controlling 2 sets of Lings. I think he's trying to get his opponent out of position to find out if he can get a really, really advantageous surround on his opponent. But more importantly, he's keeping 1 set over at the third and 1 set on the alley leading up. In fact, there we have another denial of that third just because of these 20-so Lings out here.
And there come more Zerglings from the backside. Ooh! Now that is actually a great move right there by Morrow, forcing 3 force fields to get thrown down. I mean, you look at the purple bar, that's the energy of the sentries, how many force fields they're capable of throwing down. Even reducing that by 3 force fields is a huge boon. You know, the Slog can't actually even do very much with these gateways. He's just trying to constrict space a little bit.
I do like the Dark Shrine going down here. You know, even though we're at Lair Tech for Morrow, he has this interestingly placed Spore Crawler over here for detection. The Lings are going in, though, and going to meet with a lot of Zealots. They will see that there's a cannon there. Might decide to slip right into the main base, and that's exactly where they're going now. Production cycle just came out here for Slog, so there will be a few probe kills here. In fact, the probe's finally going to retreat out. There we see the Zealots warping in now, and these Lings, they're going to immediately go after the Dark Shrine. And you know what? Even though he got those probe skills, having that Dark Shrine seen, and I don't think it's going to go down, but having it seen will allow Morrow to quickly react. Remember that probe also that was chilling over in the corner? He has put down a pylon. He's going to put down a couple over there, Day. See what he'll do with that.
We do see those Banelings getting morphed in the main. Getting ready clearly to do a little bit of dropping action. Here comes a huge Zergling drop from Morrow. Big pressure in the main, not that many units there from Morrow. And these Zerglings do have the 2 armor upgrades, so that does mean the Zealots cannot kill them in 2 hits. Now we see Morrow unloading all the Zerglings and Slog, going to try to defend, but at the same time, Zergling running to the right side of the map, going to be able to take out that 3rd base. Can Morrow even take down the Nexus? It doesn't look like it, but my god, the damage has been dealt. Protoss seems to have been behind all game long.
I mean, it is really ridiculous. There's the cancel on the hatch. It's really ridiculous just how much control Morrow is having with these Lings. Generally not too much of a, I guess not too feared. It depends on the state of where they're at in the game. We do have 2 Baneling drops going in, 1 into the main as the cannon does go down. There will be some huge hits going out here, and we're going to see, oh my gosh, all of the probes. 1 hit of those Banelings are taking out the probes, and now we've got a second one going in. There's a huge concentration of probes here, and a big drop.
And trying to run them away. 14 probes to 73 drones. I would call that an advantage to Zerg.
That was pretty perfect.
You know, I was talking that the main reason that all strategies begin to follow these common paths is that balance of resources, how you're spending your minerals and your gas. It's going to be hard for Slog to spend minerals or gas without any probes to mine them.
Yeah, that's a really, really rough situation. He's going to take out this gateway at the front of his base, and I'm actually not sure why he decided to do that, but moving forward now, I mean, he's really at a point where he does not have an expansion. His stir never got up. His workers count down to 22, and he does not have anything banked too much. Now he can take out his...
Slog's just killing his own buildings. Can't believe the terrible position he is in right now. The Zergling drop doing ridiculous damage in the main. Slog has essentially given up on the defense, just going to try to go for a huge push. I mean, the 24 probes, you don't want the game to go on longer, because the longer the game goes on, the more probes you need. Yeah. That means Slog needs to get a big advantage with this push. But oh my goodness! Look at that number of infestors. That's 13 infestors weak. He can neural parasite like all the sentries. He can get force fields for his Zerglings.
Yeah, I mean, with the fun between the fungals and the neuros, and we are going to see the actually. Oh, there it is. GG.
My! No, I'm returning the game. We are watching that play out. Look at that unbelievable destruction by Morrow. Zerg's overpowered, Marcus.
You know, look at the unit comp that we saw there. Lings, more Lings, upgraded Lings, some more upgraded Lings, Banelings, drops, and then into the infestors. I mean, usually at that point in the game, 19 minutes, we see more widespread tech. You know, typically sticking with some units, but just goes to show with the control, the good control of the Ling groups, he was denying that 3rd just with those units. Just some remarkable play in both of those games from Morrow. Just amazing.
I cannot overemphasize how unbelievably hard that is to play that well, but Morrow making it look easy. You know, talking about that distribution of resources idea, a lot of people like to think that the more you add to the strategy, the better. Maybe I could get some Hydras in there and then some Mutalisks with my Zergling drops. Strategies are better when you take things away and have as few elements as possible. So what Morrow's really doing is he's spending his minerals on expanding, he's spending his minerals on Zergling, and he's spending his minerals on drones. And what does he do with all that gas? He gets upgrades for the Zerglings. He gets the drop upgrade. He gets the Overlord speed upgrade. Almost no gas units until the 12, 13-minute mark with those Banelings. And all it takes is 1 or 2 good Baneling drops to kill like 100% of his probes.
I mean, when you think about it,